Okay, now that we have our body work done, the Bondo work, now it's time to find the gaps. But all the body work is flush from panel to panel. So this gets a little tricky, but we can do this. Okay, I can't hold the camera and do it at the same time. So I'm going to be putting it on pause, and no, I don't know how to take a bunch of videos and put them together and edit it. So bear with me, and we'll do the best we can. What you want to do is find a starting point. Take a flat blade screwdriver and push the wax in. So I'll get a section done, and then we'll turn the camera back on so you can see it. You see that? We're finding it. It's a slow process and important, so you don't ruin the edges you just spent time making. So I'll get back with you. Okay, this is my starting point of just finding the gap. It's still rough. We'll get to cleaning it up. Once you have it pushed in, you don't want to pull the wax outward or you'll ruin the edges of the gap you're making. So now that we have it broke open, we gently raise the deck lid and get all that wax out of there. And yes, when it's all said and done, backfilling is necessary. But I'll get this cleaned up and I'll show you how to finalize, how it gets finalized to make it nice. So I'll be back. Okay, now that we got our wax out of there, there's still a wax residue that you have to get off, but there's a way to get that off. Okay, next, we start with a block and some 80 grit, and we clean up the deck lid edge. That's the edge that we use to put the wax on. So let me get this cleaned up, and I'll be back. Okay, now that you have the edges cleaned up, it's important to have the edges just a touch higher than the panels you're flushing out so you don't end up with fatty edges. Now, what I do is take a Bondo spreader, the fat side. I put a piece of 150 grit file paper and a piece of 80. We're gonna take this, which is close to 4 millimeters. We're gonna put it in the groove. We're gonna drag it. Just keep dragging it. A bunch of times, and be careful when you come around here. If you bend it the wrong way, you're going to open up the gap and do a V. So I'll be back with you. Now that you've run your spreader between the two panels with the 80 grit and the 150 grit, I still have wax residue to get off, and I got backfilling to do. But there you have it. You've got a nice gap. Panel is flush and flush. The gap is consistent. We're trying to maintain 4 millimeters. I use 156 thousandths wax to start with, which is real close. Okay, there's still a lot of work to do. It took me about a half an hour to get the wax out and to run the spreader through it. But that's what you have. Nice lines. Panel is flush and flush. You want to make panels just kind of disappear into themselves. Okay, I'm going to get some, I want to get some polyester primer on here today, because it'll be about 2 months before I get back to this area, because I still have the entire side. I do the wax thing on the door gaps and on my fender gaps, and of course on my hood and the cowl panel. It's a long process, but you see the results. Nice clean lines, nice gaps, nice flush panels. When I get some primer on there, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, and I am back. I put 2 coats of polyester primer on to lock down my bodywork. It's necessary to lock it down. I don't paint on polyester. I will finish it with 2K urethane primer. But waxing the gaps, you can see the outcome. The panels are nice and flush. They're nice and flush and nice looking gaps. I still have a lot of fine tuning to do to it, but that's just the way I do it. And I will shoot a couple more videos when I start on the doors, because I do it the same way. See you later.